So in 5 days we're going to be once again entering the world of survival horror. And I've kept mostly offline between the time I made my last video to now, because I knew that people would get the game early. We're talking about Resident Evil Requiem. To be more specific, I knew they'd get it early. I knew they'd get copies of the game early, and I knew they'd go ahead and spoil it. So today we're talking about all the Resident Evil actual spoilers and actual leaks, not theorizing on spoilers and leaks, but actually talking about the mindset of some of these fools, these absolute fools that want to spoil the game and leak the game because they've been lucky enough to get a copy early and play through it. I think that's disgusting behaviour, to be honest with you. And we're not talking about people going, hey, at your own peril, don't watch this video, it's got spoilers and leaks. We're talking about them actually spoiling the game in thumbnails and going on Facebook posts or X posts and just outright saying what happens in the ending. That's something that has been spoiled for me, which I'm really, really pissed off about. So I avoided everything, basically. I'd avoided all this stuff. You know, I saw it popping up and people saying just avoid going online. And I generally thought I could dodge it, because in some of my previous videos I have stated that we're going to be going over some leaks, but they could be leaks from older builds, and see how these leaks match up with the trailers for the game. But I give spoiler warnings. I don't just paste it all over the internet, you know, and on YouTube and put it in thumbnails and put it in the description. I don't do stuff like that. I'll give you a warning. It's towards the middle sort of half of my video, and it was because certain things linked up with certain trailers, you know, especially the Leon reveal trailer, and I needed to talk about them. But I did say, and I did state, that they would be probably leaks from an older build of the game and also older scripts for the game, which I now know they are, because I'd already read, you know, the name of Victor, like Victor Gideon's name. It was changed. I think it was Victor and then something Russian, right? So I knew that the leaks were of older builds, or I don't know, something was lost in translation. They weren't 100% spot on. Now, if the leaks had spoiled the ending, or I don't know, a lot of the game, I would not have covered them. I do believe that these leaks were okay to talk about, just because they didn't spoil a lot, like heavily, you know. But as for actually directly going out and just spoiling the game for someone, that sort of mindset, those actions, they suck. You know, I unfortunately have sort of seen, I've seen that the ending's been spoiled because some dozy twat on Facebook decides that she needs to comment on a video about Capcom pulling videos down if they are leak videos, and decides to spoil the ending for the rest of us. Now, I don't know whether she knew what she was doing, or she's just like an idiot. She's just stupid, and she's decided, okay, yeah, well, this happens, and she's just put it up without just thinking, right? But to me, I was thinking, looks like you've done that on purpose because you're a bit of a bitch. And Capcom have every right, it's within their power to pull down videos that are spoiling their game. You know, I agree with that. Me and Capcom, we've had a pretty good relationship when it comes to covering their games and, you know, talking about Resident Evil. Haven't had many problems. I will, however, say that when there was, I believe, leaked images of, which game was it? Village. I posted them up, and they were readily available on Google. Okay, they later down the line got taken off, but they were on Google, and so Capcom did strike my channel, which was a bit of a piss take, and you know, and I contested it, and it didn't, you know, it didn't go through. They just still struck my channel. And I was thinking, hold on, Google own YouTube, and I've taken the images from Google. Should you not be telling Google off about this? Not me. I just thought it was a bit hilarious that, you know, they struck my channel, I contested it, Google owns the whole platform, and they still let it go through, even though I'd got the images off of Google. But that's about the extent of my issues with Capcom. That's the only kind of bad experience I've ever had with them. I'm not talking about their products, you know, and the stuff that they've pulled previously. I'm talking about them as a company and kind of working sort of to promote their products, yeah, like Resident Evil, because essentially that's what we are doing when we cover their games. But also the most most hilarious thing was that later on they were found to have stolen artwork from a particular, you know, a French artist, a big French artist, and that was a bit of dirt rubbed in my eye as well at the same time, because I was thinking, how can you strike my channel and pull my video for me showing about 5 leaked images from Village and nothing too revealing. I understand it from your point of view. I do get it. But at the same time, don't be hypocrites. But that's about it. I've never had no other issues just because I've never put up leaked images ever again, or leaked footage, or spoiled the whole story for their games. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe some of these people are YouTubers that have been burned by Capcom as a company, and they wanted to get their petty revenge, but you're not spoiling it for Capcom, you're spoiling it for the rest of us, and we don't want to know what actually happens in the game. I'd like some things to be kept secret, and to be a surprise within sort of a world full of just online culture, constantly 24/7. Things are getting spoiled, films are getting spoiled, books are getting spoiled, games are getting spoiled. I wanted to have this one thing that I could go into after speculating and having theory videos where it generally surprises me. Or, some of the things that were in older builds and older scripts for the game were still in there, but just, repurposed and expanded upon more. I just wanted to go into this game when I got my hands on it, play through it, and not have the story spoiled. That's what I wanted. That's what a lot of people wanted. And instead, a huge majority of people that were able to get their hands on the game early decided, no, we're going to spoil it for you. Get fucked. And that is the culture that we live in now. It's all for clicks. It's all for attention. You have to be a massive attention-seeking dipshit to just want to spoil the game, even though people are like, please don't spoil the game. You have to be some sort of just weirdo that wants to be hated rather than actually liked. And guess who we could blame for that one? We can blame, 100% we can blame Dusty Golem. 100% this is on him, because he's created, another 100 Dusty Golems out there that are doing this for clicks and attention. They couldn't give a shit about Resident Evil in terms of the series, the lore, the story, and its fans. They couldn't give a crap. They've got the game early, and the first thing they did was play through the game and leak it, And then, obviously, Capcom were putting up posts saying, can you not do this? Can you not spoil it for everybody else? Which is well within their rights to do. And I feel sorry for Nakanishi. I feel sorry for his team. Imagine you've worked on something for that long. I know this when I put up a track, if I'm doing a remix or something like that. I don't want to just put up half of the remix, and spoil it. I want to finish the track. And then when the track is finished, I'll put it up and let people hear it for themselves and judge it for themselves. It's the same with Resident Evil Requiem. This is a piece of art that Nakanishi and his team created and worked for years on. This game's been in development since Village. They've worked for years on this game, and it's been spoiled. And it's really frustrating. And the person that's led this charge for years upon years is Dusty Golem. And then you have all these other channels springing up, even channels that don't cover Resident Evil, that haven't covered Resident Evil, suddenly covering Resident Evil Requiem. Or, it might have started from 7. And so it's all these, Resident Evil Channel 2.0, Resident Evil Channel 5.0. It's all these just samey channels that just talk about leaks to get clicks and get attention. My channel is super, super small. I'm not doing my videos to get clicks and get attention. If I was, I'd cover GTA 6 or some other flipping game out there like that, Assassin's Creed or something, even though there's 101, well, more than that, 1001 channels that cover those games as well. I'm not doing this to get clicks and attention, because clearly if I was, it hasn't worked. Okay, so when I cover in one video, we're talking one video, when I cover sort of some spoilers that they matched up with the Leon reveal trailer, I give a warning. I say, look, if you don't want to know anything, if this is true, if it's not just from an older build or an older script of the game, then just lock the video off now, because that's what I would want. That's what I would do, as a fan. So I give people prior warning. It doesn't just come in straight at the beginning of the video like all these other videos. I talk about it halfway through. I give prior warning, and then I go over the supposed spoilers. But the more that the game got revealed, the more trailers that got dropped, and the more that this journey to Requiem has gone on, I noticed, these spoilers, I don't think they're going to add up 100% with the game. So I was happy about that, and I even said that in the previous video. I was like, I don't think these are going to be 100% accurate. I think these are probably maybe 30 to 40% accurate, maybe. But at the same time, they were so sort of condensed and sort of really small lines of text in terms of like being spoilery that I didn't see it as a big deal. And now that the game has come out and certain things I've seen within the trailers that show off the game have revealed, I don't think they're really on the money. Like, I think they're from older builds of the game. But like I said previously, I'm trying to like, you know, plead my case. But at the same time, I gave spoiler warnings. I gave potential spoiler warnings in my video. It was halfway through the video, not the very beginning. And I told you guys, look, if you don't want to be spoiled, do not watch this half of the video. Just don't watch it. Okay, so that's different from someone literally putting a spoiler in the thumbnail of the ending of Resident Evil Requiem, you know, or just popping onto a Facebook post that is about a statement Capcom have issued and just spoiling the ending of the game, which is what happened with me. And I thought, did you really need to do that? Are you that deprived of attention that you needed to do that? It's a bit of a joke at this point. And I think that a lot of people, it's their own hubris. I think it's a lot of people's own hubris that have perpetuated this Resident Evil leak culture. This is what I'm calling it, because this has been going on since Resident Evil 7, maybe even before. I kind of caught wind of it with RE7 and people trying to spoil it and leak it, and it's just continued and continued and continued, where this series, this franchise that I absolutely love, like dearly, holds so dear to my heart, it's just constantly spoiled, and most of the views and attention go to these spoiler leaker channels. And it's like, what are you doing, people? Is this the new fan base? Is this the next generation of Resident Evil fans? Is it the older ones that are so, you know, deprived of Resident Evil content that they need to watch some leak videos on the upcoming game? I don't know what this is. Like, it's just Resident Evil used to be great because it had mystery, and you was always wondering what the hell was going on, you know, in each game, and what the plot was going to be about. In Resident Evil 5, I had no clue. I was playing it with a mate, and I had no clue what was going to happen, what the story was going to reveal, and it was a genuine surprise. You know, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, when I first saw images for that game in an old PSM magazine, and it had artwork of the Nemesis, and I could see like some screenshots of the Nemesis going to hit Jill, and you know, and she was rolling out the way, or the fact that we got to see different parts of Raccoon City, and my mind at that time was like racing, you know, in sort of what would be revealed and how the story would progress, and what we'd see in Raccoon City, what new sort of sites and things we would see in Raccoon City, and new Umbrella facilities, new monsters. It was great. It was, you know, it was a great time to be a Resident Evil fan. Cut to the road to Requiem, and most of it's got spoiled, or there's constantly leak videos popping up on YouTube. Or the next thing is that Resident Evil Code Veronica is getting a remake. Do you know what I mean? We can't just sit here and enjoy the fact that a new sort of mainline entry Resident Evil game is coming out. We have to then cut towards the end of that game's promotion. We have to cut to, Resident Evil Code Veronica is coming out next year, and Resident Evil 0 remake's coming out next year. And it's like, mate, just slow down, just calm down. I want to play Requiem first. I want to experience this game. I don't need to be pulled and pushed towards, you know, another remake straight away after this game's kind of promotion has essentially ended its run dry, and instead you're trying to pull me to the next thing. You know, it's just a bit jarring, and I don't really like the specific culture that's surrounding the series at the moment. That's what I'm trying to get at. I just don't think it's the same culture that we had previously when we were growing up with the series. Now it's leaker, clicks, attention seeking, you know, desperate for any attention type of culture surrounding the series, and I think it's spoiling the promotion of the game, the build up of the newest Resident Evil title, whether it be a remake or it be, you know, a mainline entry. And I don't really like it, and I think that the people who are spoiling it, like fully going and spoiling the game because they were lucky enough to get their hands on a copy of Resident Evil Requiem. Oh, what do you want, a fucking gold medal? Do you want a sticky star because you were able to get the game early? Do you want a round of applause for spoiling the game? No, a lot of people are going to hate you. That's the truth. And if you want to be hated and looked on like a piece of shit, then continue. Because I personally am looking at these people like they're pieces of shit. I'm like, don't spoil the game. Don't go ahead and just ruin the whole fucking game. You want to show little bits of gameplay, fine. Yeah, but to put the game on YouTube and spoil the whole thing just for clicks and attention, that sucks. Like, you're a piece of shit if you're doing stuff like that. I have seen and read more about Dusty fucking Golem being a Resident Evil insider, according to Eurogamer and other sites, than I have heard about the game. I've heard more about him than I have the game. And these sites should be ashamed of themselves, because they've perpetuated this culture as well, this leak, spoiler culture. They've perpetuated that as well. He's not an industry insider. Let's get that straight. He's just a grifter. Yeah, that sometimes gets some things right and then other times gets a lot wrong. I don't know who he has on the inside of the Game Awards, or someone that I don't know is present when Capcom show off trailers of their upcoming projects. I don't know, but all I do know is he's not an industry insider. He's a grifter. Okay, and if Capcom are issuing statements about pulling channels and also pulling down videos that are leaking the whole game, then you can guarantee that they would never allow someone like Dusty Golem to be around their projects or, any of their scripts. 100%. So yeah, that's all I've seen is him and all these other channels that literally popped up and just talk about leaks. They claim to be Resident Evil fans and Resident Evil specific channels when they're not. Some of them aren't even originally Resident Evil channels. They've just jumped on the hype train. And they're covering the game and every single video is just leaks, and this will shock you, and it's getting boring. It's actually getting boring. Like, I'm fed up of seeing these grifter channels and this grifter, guy getting attention and getting views and taken away from actual Resident Evil channels. I mean, shit, my channel isn't even just a Resident Evil channel. It's actually it's a gaming channel, and I talk about loads of different games. It's just the fact that Resident Evil is my favourite series of all time. That, yeah, I will cover it. Of course I'll talk about it. But at the same time, I see all these other Resident Evil channels with these genuine fans from day one, and these other grifter channels just take away from them, and it's disgusting. Like, I'm pretty sure some of these channels were probably called Bob and His Games or some fucking generic title like that, and then suddenly they saw that Requiem, was coming out, and they jumped on that and changed the name to suit a more Resident Evil themed channel name. That's how it looks to me when I see 101 channels popping up talking about the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, shit, there's at least 10 channels that I've seen since Requiem got announced covering the game that literally cover the exact same fucking thing. It's almost like they're robots and they're just covering the exact same thing, and some of them sound similar as well. Some of them sound alike. The way that they word stuff off, how they cover the leaks or whatever it be that they're covering, just news. It's mostly leaks and spoilers. Yeah, they all sound the same as well. It was just, I was thinking, what is this? Like, when the fuck did Resident Evil become Assassin's Creed? Like, when did we get these grifter channels popping up? Like, it's just sad. More than anything, it's sad. And there's a bunch of channels that I've seen that have next to no views that generally care about the series, and yeah, you don't have to be a day oneer. You could have got into the series at any point. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Code Veronica. I don't care. But I can always spot a true fan that really gives a damn about this series and where it's headed, compared to a grifter channel that couldn't really give a shit. Like, they'll cover this, and if the series was to die tomorrow, they just jump on something else. They jump on another hype train. They don't give a damn about the series. They really don't, and it's evident, and it comes across when I'm watching their content. Like, they're not into Resident Evil in the same way we are. They're not. Believe me. It's a series that they dabble in. They jump in and out of. And they enjoy it? Yeah, of course. They like playing the games? Yeah, cool. But for them, it's a meal ticket. It means views. That's all it means. They couldn't give a damn about this series. They really couldn't. There's the odd one or two, definitely. But they're still grifting. They're still grifting. It's just that they've been fans for a long time. But the attention means more to them than the actual series and the quality of the series and spoiling it for other fans. If you're a genuine fan, you wouldn't be going around every single video spoiling this game or trying to spoil this game for other fans. You just wouldn't do that. So that's my take on it anyway. None of us old heads are gatekeepers in any way. Like, we couldn't be gatekeepers anyway, because this isn't a series that we created. It's a series that Capcom created, and then we just boosted it. We boosted its numbers. We got involved in it, and we fell in love with the series. So in no way are we gatekeepers, and I would never want to be a gatekeeper of this series. I wouldn't want to be looked on as a gatekeeper of this series. I love when I see that new fans find the older games. You know, if someone's a fan of 7, they absolutely love that game, and they go back and they play like the remake of 1, and they say, oh, this is amazing, like this is as good as 7, it's just good in its own way. You know, I love that. I love seeing that. I love the fact that RE2 Remake introduced newer fans to the world of Resident Evil 2, and maybe they see RE2 on PS Plus, you know, and they decide to play it. And they get to play the old game as well as the new one. I love that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's got nothing to do with old fans versus new fans, how long you've been with the series, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I don't care about any of that. I care about people that see it as an opportunity to grift and just get attention. Just get the attention that they want, and then you know if the series goes downhill or Capcom suddenly lose the series, which I doubt is going to happen, then these channels and these people that are grifting will jump off it in a heartbeat, in a second, and they would follow the next big thing, GTA 6, yeah, do you know what I mean, the next Assassin's Creed, whatever Call of Duty is going to come out, they'll do the same thing. So that's my take on everything. I want to give a massive fuck you to, you know, the silly twats that are spoiling Requiem at the moment. I hope your channels get struck, I really do, and I hope your videos get pulled down, because you fucking suck. Like, I don't think you're needed within the Resident Evil fan base, 100%. And I'm guessing you're not really massive fans of the games or the series anyway, because you wouldn't want to leak it for everybody else. You just wouldn't. So yeah, that's my take on everything, really. I'm looking forward to the Code Veronica remake when it does get announced. I'm not going to start speculating or talking about it. I've got previous videos, if you want to go and watch those, that talk about the Code Veronica remake. So by all means, go ahead, watch those videos. If I made a new video, it'd just be regurgitating the same things that I've said and gone over. So yeah, you can find those videos easily by typing in System Check 66 Resident Evil Code Veronica. It will pop up. So go and watch those if you want to know my thoughts on the Code Veronica remake and what I want from it. But I'm very excited that's coming out supposedly next year. And then I think we're getting Resident Evil 0. I think we're getting a remake of that game, which has a lot of potential. They could definitely better it compared to the original. And then as for mainline entries within Resident Evil, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I'll have to play through Requiem myself and see how it rounds everything off. Even though the most crucial part of the ending has been spoiled for me, it isn't going to spoil my my enjoyment of the game and going into the game. I'm just pissed off that some doofy idiot spoiled it on Facebook, and I wasn't intending for it to be spoiled. You know, I wasn't looking for that. It is what it is, though. What I will say before I finish this video off is go and show actual Resident Evil content creators love instead of these grifters, because you know we're perpetuating this cycle of just spoilers and leaks, and it's becoming a culture within the Resident Evil fandom, and I don't like where it's going. You know, it's kind of making me not want to watch videos on forthcoming games because it might contain spoilers and leaks, and I might not even know that. It might not express that in the thumbnail. You might go into it and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, there's some leaks and spoilers for this Resident Evil title, this new Resident Evil title. Jill eventually gets her sandwich. There you go. But yeah, there's a wealth and a ton of Resident Evil channels out there that generally do love and care about this series. There's a huge passion, you know, for the Resident Evil series, and they deserve your views. They deserve the view counts, not these grifters. That's my stance on it. That is my stance on it, and I'm not going to back down on that. So try and find the right channels, the ones that genuinely do have a love and a passion for this series, among other series, you know. But yeah, like me, they'll probably cover other games. But when it all's said and done, they'll come back to the Resident Evil series, just like I do. And you can spot these grifter channels a mile off, and you can spot the real channels if you really search and take the time. You can spot them. So that's the last word on it all. You know, try not to spoil this game for yourself. Try not to sort of just go dark. That's what I said. Just go dark online, basically. If you see something that looks like it's going to spoil it or leak it, avoid it. Avoid it big time. And we've got 5 days until the game's officially released, so I can't wait to get my hands on it and play it and give you guys my thoughts. I'm going to go through the game, the whole game, finish it, and then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it, possibly in a review video. I mean, yeah, that's probably the format I'm going to use is a review. But also, I'd warn you not to go onto any comment section within YouTube, Facebook, or X where Capcom is issuing statements, because it seems like you can get spoiled there as well. So just go dark. Just wait those 5 days out until we get the game. With that all being said, I've been System Check 66. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys again next time.